Hey, Destis and Bride friends. Welcome back to the Desti Guide to Destination Weddings. This is Desti TV. I am Omi Allen, and you are watching this because either you or someone you love was busy trying to plan their destination wedding, and the most uninvited wedding guest on earth has shown up. I'm talking about coronavirus, this COVID-19 pandemic that we are all dealing with around the world. And my heart goes out to you guys because I never had to deal with this with my wedding. And I can only imagine, and I really don't have to imagine because you guys have reached out. I have heard all of the questions, all of the feelings. I know you guys are going through so much right now, and I have just the thing for you. As soon as coronavirus started causing trouble and your questions started pouring in, I reached out to our Desti Pro and travel specialist, Sarah Kline of Time for Travel. So if Sarah's name sounds familiar, then it should, because she was on episode 6 of the show. And at that point, she was just giving us all of the best travel advice that we could need from the perspective of a professional travel agent. The episode is still one of the most downloaded episodes by far on the show, and for great reason. And as soon as I got in contact with Sarah, she immediately agreed to come back on the show and give us a full update and let us know what's going on out there in all of these destinations and what coronavirus is doing to the travel industry as a whole, and also what we can do to power through it. Now, you might want to pause this and grab a notepad if you don't have one, because Sarah went in. We talked about specific destinations, venues, travel advisories, vendors, airlines, what they're doing, and what we should be thinking about when we're dealing with them. We tackled the postponing, which I know was so very hard, but she gave us some really great advice about when to and when not to, and how to postpone and how you should be thinking about this. She went into detail about specific months. I asked her like April, May, da 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 da. We went through that. We talked about 2020. We talked about 2021. We went over contracts. You guys, saving money, negotiating. Guys, we really dug in on this. And this is actually going to be a bit different, because what I did was I invited Sarah to do a live Q&A in the Desti Lovers community. So if you're not a part of the Desti Lovers community, I do invite you to join. It's free. There's a link in the description, and we go live every Thursday with a different topic. And because everything's going on with coronavirus, I invited Sarah as a special guest to just go straight through. We did a full Desti hour of coronavirus Q&A. And we covered a lot of ground in this interview, and I know that you were going to love it. Bride friends who have already watched it, that are part of the community, have already been coming out and giving me great feedback. One Desti bride even said she felt a sense of calm after hearing it. So I'm really excited to share this with you. If you have any questions, make sure that you drop them in the comments. And also, while you're at it, give me that hashtag I'm a Desti and let me know when you're getting married and where you're getting married. If I don't know you already, I love to get to know you guys. And especially, it's a lot going on right now, but I love to know you. So if you're planning a Desti wedding, or if you're a friend or a bride friend or a family member of anybody, you're going to get a lot from this episode. But introduce yourself in the comments as well. And bride friends, as you know, this coronavirus pandemic is changing rapidly. So this interview that I'm about to share with you was recorded on Thursday, March 26th. 2020. So if anything has changed, or if there are any major changes that have gone on since then and since this episode has gone live, make sure that you look in the descriptions. I'll have in all caps updates, and I'll have links, and they'll always be in the show notes for you in Destiland as well. But I just want to go ahead and let you know that this is all effective from March 26th, 2020, and at this point, it's probably March 29th or March 30th when you're watching this, if you're watching it live. If it's been a little bit of time, make sure that you just check the show link, the show notes, and then also the show notes always have all links. So as we talked about things and Sarah brought up certain topics or sites or anything, I always have them waiting for you in Destiland. So make sure that you visit that 2. And I know the anticipation is building because this episode is so good. I know you guys are going to love it. But before we hop in, I must thank our sponsor for this episode, which is Time for Travel, which is so very fitting, if I could say so. I want to give a gigantic thank you to Sarah and her team at Time for Travel for not only saving the day with this interview, but for sponsoring the show and making sure that we could get this interview out as soon as possible. You guys, normally it takes a while. It's a whole process of getting an episode to you guys in an interview. But thanks to Sarah and her team, I was able to get it out to you guys as soon as possible and help as many of you Desties and Bride friends out there as we could. So as you're watching, if you have any questions or you need any assistance from a true travel and destination wedding specialist, Sarah and her team at Time for Travel are here for you. You can visit them at timefortravelltd.com and the link is in the description. And make sure that you tell her that your best Desti bride friend Omi sent you and she'll take extra special care of you. Okay, I know that you're ready, so let's get to it. Here is my live coronavirus and your destination wedding Q&A Desti hour with Sarah Kline at Time for Travel. Enjoy! We're live. Hey, Desties and bride friends. Happy Desti hour. Today is totally different. So if you saw it in the group, then you know. But if you don't, then I'm about to tell you. I have a special guest. So it's always you and I. But today I have Sarah Kline. If you don't know Sarah, you're about to know her. But episode 6, she was actually our Desti Pro and our travel agent, and she's been on the show, episode 6, and we are going to talk about coronavirus. So last week we did a fuck coronavirus cheers on that one, so that was awesome. It was great, but you guys really need to hear from a pro. So I'm going to bring Sarah on. We're going to answer your questions. We're going to talk about everything that's going on right now with coronavirus and COVID-19. And if you are excited, let me know. And hey, Nez, I am so happy to add and to invite Sarah. So Sarah, you are about to make your debut. There you are.
Hi guys. Oh, well, cheers to Desti hour. Yay! We all need a sip this evening.
We absolutely do. So happy to have you on.
Thrilled to be here. Thank you. Nice break from everything today.
Yes, it's crazy, right? So for everybody who doesn't, everybody who doesn't know you, please introduce yourself and tell them who you are, what you do, where destinations you service, all that good stuff.
Well, I'm Sarah Kline. I own Time for Travel, and I specialize in destination weddings and honeymoons. So we've kind of evolved from a traditional travel agency to really all about destination weddings. So 25 years in the business, and I still sit in a retail storefront. Well, up until 2 weeks ago anyway. Now I work from my kitchen table most days. So we just service mostly Caribbean and Mexico, some South America. We are a free service to our brides, and we do start to finish destination wedding planning. So, and I did your wedding, which is so cool. It seems like it was just yesterday.
I know. 3 years almost. It'll be 3 years in May. So, yes. And you guys know I love her. I talk about her all the time. And you guys clearly do too, because she's one of the top episodes still to this day. And our interview was in 2017, actually. So
that's great. I can't believe how long ago that was. And we're in Maryland, but we service the whole world. So I've got brides from Australia to the Middle East, all over the United States. So I pretty much work 24 hours a day. That way I can service everybody all the time.
Yes.
But also in a storefront where you can come meet me as well. So it's a little bit of both.
How far from DC are you?
I am 10 miles.
Oh, next time I come, we've got to see each other. I do come to DC, so it only makes sense for us to meet in person one day.
Yeah. So love that. Huh.
Yes. So you guys, I mentioned it before, but this is going to be a this is clearly live. We're in the Desti Lovers Facebook group, but I'm also going to share this interview portion on the podcast and on the Desti TV YouTube channel so that we can help as many Desti brides and couples as possible. The live, we're going to do the Q&A afterwards. That part will not be shared. That's always private between us. But the interview, you are just getting a sneak peek. You're getting that, that VIP ticket before it even goes live. You are here. And don't be afraid to drop the comments and ask questions as usual. As I talk to Sarah, we have the questions that you guys sent me. I've got my own questions. If anything comes up while we're talking, drop them in the comments. I will get to those as well. Hi, Jennifer. This is Sarah. Yes.
Hi.
And yes, so it's the usual, just with a little bit of some extraness in here because coronavirus. So yes. So I guess, can we just jump in or?
Let's jump in. I think I have answered every question imaginable in the last couple weeks.
Now I feel challenged. I got to come up with something. You don't know. You guys.
I almost have like a script and just.
Your usual.
Crazy questions.
Well, you guys, if you have anything, let's get crazy, okay? Because we've got Sarah, and she seems to think that she has all the answers. So we gotta challenge and push that. No. No. Okay. So, I guess for starters, we talked about it. Well, you talked about it a little bit, but I'd like to talk about specific destination weddings, like what's going on in the destinations that you service. Mexico, Jamaica, just throw out whatever you have, and there's somebody here in the group where that's listening that needs help.
Yeah, I mean, last week we were still up in the air as far as some of the destinations hadn't closed their borders, hadn't really given us a definitive answer on hotels open, borders open, all that. So last week, as sad as it was finally good to get some closure and know that all of these destinations are going to adhere to the same rules and they're all off the table, because we had people going, okay, Punta Cana or Dominican Republic announced we're going to be closed for these weeks, but Jamaica's still open, but Mexico. But so we're starting to get those questions from brides, should I shift destination? And it was like, maybe, but no. But so finally we're just like, everything's shut down. They're all off the table. And this is a question I can't answer because I've been asked this about 5 times today, is when do you see them reopening? And I really hope that instead of having like one island say yes and then another island, that everybody just picks a date and goes.
Right.
Because otherwise, that's going to cause even more confusion. So hopefully just the U.S. State Department will take away the level 4, maybe take it down to a 2 or a 3. Then all the destinations will feel comfortable accepting the flights back. Other parts of the world, Europe and Asia, may be a different story. But I'm hoping Caribbean, Mexico, South America will make a unified decision.
Okay.
Hopefully.
Okay, that's very helpful. So you guys, just for anyone who's listening to this replay, today is March 26th, and this is ever changing. So this is everything that's been going on as of March 26th. So when you say last week, we mean a week from March 26th.
Yeah.
And as we get updates, we'll go from there.
Because 2 weeks ago, we were giving people completely different advice as what we're giving today. So that has been a constantly evolving thing, and changing kind of our advice and where you should go and what to look at and what we think the projected new dates are going to be. So yeah, we're speaking as of March 26th. So we'll see.
Okay, thank you. And as far as the travel advisories go, you mentioned like they're closing their borders. So does that mean that like right now Mexico has closed its borders to the United States, or like what does that mean really?
I mean, technically, if a plane is still flying there, you could still get on that plane and go.
Okay.
But when you got to that destination, they don't necessarily need to let you in. So that's the problem. Is there's just a lot of confusion. I have somebody who's supposed to go to Antigua next week, and he hasn't canceled yet. So Antigua still has American flights flying there. And they have said that they don't want people to come in, but they haven't restricted it. The hotel is still open. So my advice to him is just don't go. Because even though you get there, what if American then decided to cut the flights while he's there and he doesn't have a return, that kind of thing. So even though you're not being physically locked down or told you can't go places, our advice right now is just stay put, because there's just too much unknown information and it's just constantly changing climate. So pretty much from now till about the middle of May, my advice is stay put.
Okay.
I never thought I would say that, but that's my advice.
I know, because you and I had a conversation. We talked about this like a week and a half ago, and it was a totally different thing that was going on. So now that's just how much.
Tomorrow, let's go. Yeah, completely changed my tune. And it's really about, and that's why State Department lists the level to level 4.
Right.
That's basically them just telling you, don't go. And if you do go and get stuck, we told you so.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's how I look at it. And some people won't listen, but pretty much anything from now to the middle of May, I have just canceled, said, here's your credit, here's your refund. Let's just regroup when we all feel like it's safe to go.
Okay.
And when I mean safe, I mean by like, you're going to have a return flight.
Right.
So.
Yeah, that's real. Yeah, 'cause I feel like that level 4 has definitely changed the game, because I ended up reading into it, and they actually say if you go, what does it say? If you go, make sure that you have a plan of return that does not involve the United States, which means if you go out there,
Exactly.
don't come asking us for help because we're telling you not to go. So
we had people in the Dominican Republic up till last week.
Okay.
And, they had gone almost a full week before these advisories went out. And we kept just saying, just watch it. And then we got that, okay, in 48 hours, the last plane is coming in for the United States. So it was like we called people in their hotel rooms and we said, pack now, just go to the airport. And we were putting people on like $120 JetBlue flights to Fort Lauderdale, just to get them on mainland U.S. and then dealing with getting them home from there. So that's where, when that happened, we went, okay, this is for real.
Yeah. They're
not kidding, 48 hours to get back home. So that's our advice. And I think for the next few weeks, we're going to stick with that. Stay put.
Stay put. Yeah. I mean, yeah, you don't want to be stuck. You don't want your guests to be stuck. It's just a really hard time. It's like, we've worked so hard for this and planned for so long for this, and this is what's happening. But safety
is paramount here, is safety, and also just not getting stuck somewhere. I mean, I think some people don't realize how few flights there are that service certain destinations. And if you're stuck, you're stuck. And the insurance companies are not going to come get you.
Yeah.
If you chose to go during a level 4 advisory or during an island 2-week, lockdown. We do still have a wedding that's scheduled to leave May 15th. They're holding on to hope that things will still go. So we'll see.
I lost you for a second. What is the date for that wedding?
May 15th. We still have a wedding that is scheduled. And this bride is determined that they're going. So if the resort reopens and Southwest starts flying again, May 4th is stated, they're doing it. They're going.
Okay.
And I'm hesitant, but they're in the healthcare field. So I know they're very knowledgeable of what's going on. So I'm letting her make the call. But I have a backup date secured at the hotel.
Now does she know that?
Sort of, kind of.
Okay.
So I said, if you had to reschedule, like if, this isn't going to happen, what would be your perfect other date? And she gave me a date in January. So I called the hotel, blocked the amount of rooms in January. So that way, 48 hours before, when she finally realizes that this isn't going to happen, I can just go, okay, we've rescheduled to January and done. So those little things is what we're valuable for.
Yes, I was going to say that's the beauty of having a travel agent right there. So we will get into that. We will dig into that, because that's always my point. You need a travel agent. We need a travel agent. So let's touch on the postponing, because that's the big thing right now.
Yes.
We have weddings everywhere from, what is this, still March? I think I had a March 28th date, but clearly that's not happening. So let's say April, May, June, how are you advising your couples to think about postponing based off of their month? If I'm getting married in April, was to get married in April, or is that's a definite postpone?
If we're slated to get married this April, we've already rebooked you
Okay.
for somewhere else. So we started a couple weeks ago when we saw this coming. We grabbed all of our April travelers and said, let's cancel, let's start moving. Luckily, we didn't have any big Aprils. They were kind of smaller weddings. So some of those have moved to January, some have moved to the fall. That wasn't too bad. May, huge wedding month.
Yes.
So we're now we've moved all but one wedding. So from now till July, I have about 12 weddings.
Okay.
And they range anywhere from 30 people to 100 plus. So kind of depends on where you were going, how many people were traveling. Some were just real simple I-dos on the beach. Others are extravagant. Yes, 120 people events that we've been planning for 2 years. Yeah. So if you're April, you're already rebooked, reset, and we're looking to the future. We're frantically now moving May. And as of today, we have May going to July, one going to October, one going to January. One just said, forget it. I can't go through this again. Which makes me sad. I'm sad for them, but I understand.
Yeah, you get it, right? It's like,
yeah.
So I guess the earliest time you're saying is July. Like some people are moving to July with hopes.
Some are, and so I even had a July wedding when this all started a few weeks ago. She just went, I'm out. I don't want to think about it. Reschedule it for next July.
Okay.
So I have that scenario where someone just didn't even want to have to worry about this July. She immediately rescheduled. But then I have others that are just don't even want to talk about it. They're like, it's happening this July. End of story. And I'm riding that ride with them. I'm encouraging them and keeping them calm and happy because I want it to happen as bad as they do. So it just depends on the personality, depends on the bride, depends on your travelers. Some people have young and free spirit, I'm going, and others have, all their grandparents in attendance and all their parents' friends. They have a lot of older, couples and people that they know probably aren't going to go. So they're just going to start rescheduling. So it's very different dynamic with every single one of them. So it's been an interesting couple weeks. So,
yeah. So when it first starts, how are you talking to them? Are they asking, are you telling them to talk to their guests to see what they think, or just make a decision on your own, or what are your thoughts with that?
This started happening a couple weeks ago to all of my weddings from now through the end of the summer, and just said, we have you well in mind. This is kind of our timeline of when to plan, when to panic, what to tell your guests. So we kind of made a little line by line of how we think this should go. And this is uncharted territory. Right. I mean, we deal with hurricane season. This is like hurricane season times 1,000. So it's very similar to kind of how we would deal with that if we see a hurricane coming and we have weddings during that time frame. And the response from each couple has been dramatically different. Some are just like, done, we're out. Others didn't even reply to my email. I got some that had like a high five emoji and we're going no matter what. I have it all. So that's been the interesting part of this is we've done laughter, tears, freakouts. We've ridden every emotion. And I think this is really just the beginning. It's going to be a rough couple more weeks. So my advice to each of them is different depending on personality and location and kind of what they had planned. So that's a loaded question.
You did good though. Yeah. I'm gonna ask you. I'm always asking you for your extra notes on things. So I'm gonna see if I can get that out of you. The timeline that you give people, like ask this is when to do this is when to do that. See if we can share that.
And it's been kind of you almost don't want to jump too soon because we found some of the people, like some of the May weddings, when they decided to cancel or move, the resort was still open and the airlines are still saying they're flying and there were no restrictions. So the hotel wasn't really very nice about it. They weren't really willing to work with them so much and give a lot of credits. Well, now over the last couple of weeks, the hotel is now officially closed. The airlines are changed their rules. So if we'd kind of waited a little while, they would have gotten a bit of a better response. So I'm kind of playing that game between appeasing the guests who are like, I'm not going, and the hotels that have these penalties, is kind of sitting on stuff to see how it plays out.
Yeah.
So it's been a game. It's really been a challenging game. But, and again, it just depends on the hotel chains. I think one of your questions you're probably going to ask me is who has shined, and I'm not naming any names, and who has not. And one of the bright spots we're going to get coming out of this is we really realized who our partners are with certain hoteliers and airlines and who aren't. So some have really risen to the occasion and others have failed miserably. So
Okay. So I'm gonna get to that. I wanted to say, okay, first of all, hi Emerald, hi Jess, hi everybody. If anyone, it looks like a good number of you have jumped on since then. So just really quick, this is a live interview. This is Sarah Kline from Time from Travel. She's answering all of our questions. So do not be afraid to drop your questions in the comments if you have any. I see a couple I'm going to get to, but just wanted to tell you ladies, because you just hopped on, it looks like, ask and we'll answer. So yes, thank you. Now, Sarah.
Yes.
You're not naming names on the ones who have failed miserably. Can you name names on the ones who've done wonderfully so far as of March 26th?
It's still a little early. It is
early.
We'll
okay.
Follow in a future episode.
I'll wait till you're on the other side to get you on that one.
Yeah, it's just some have been like, everybody, here's your money back. Here's an upgrade. Let us know what we can do for you. Like, calling us, calling our brides, checking in, just been amazing. Mm-hmm. And then others are like not answering the phone and shutting down their call centers and only making outgoing phone calls and just only giving people the option of future credits instead of, if the resort's closed, you need to refund that guest.
Right.
If the client chooses not to travel, then maybe a credit. So
right. Yeah. And if we can't travel, if the border is closed, then what do you want me to do?
Yeah. But I think as the pressure builds, they may change. So yeah. I think things will even out at the end of the day. But it also has made us realize that big thing. Some of our big online tour companies like Book It, which
that's on my list. That's on my list. Yeah. To see what you think of that one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So a company that is this mega company online who we're always competing against, just poof, done, out of business, left everybody stranded.
Yeah. So they're not as big as they thought they were, or as great as they thought they were. They couldn't take it.
Exactly. Yeah. So there'll be some shakeups from this too, and you'll realize who ran their business well and who, had a good foundation and who to do business with going forward.
That is true. And that goes for the vendors as well. I'm hearing all these different stories about certain vendors, not participating and not being a part of this. It's just a crazy time right now. Like, you choose these people to memorialize your marriage, and it's not working out because the world is falling apart. And somehow there's 6 other vendors who can make this work, but you personally are not having it, and they stand out. So
yeah, it's sad, what's happening, but there's a lot of I used to use hobbyists in this industry, whether it's somebody who does travel on the side or photography on the side or bakes a wedding cake, so that's another thing I think brides should really look at, is pick someone that this is their world. This is what they do all day, every day, because I'm noticing those hobbyists, when this isn't so much fun, are just gone. They're out. So that's a big part in any vendor, regardless of what it is to do with a wedding. So
yeah, that's super true. And you said that in episode 6. I remember I asked what tips would you give, and you said all these people who just do it sometimes or part-time or here and there, or your cousin who wants to be a travel agent, like, don't do that. And it makes sense. Well, clearly, like now, it's like, yeah, you get it.
Yeah, it's really fun, but today it isn't.
I know.
So those people who got into it for fun are going, ooh, maybe that's not so much fun anymore.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm in it for the long haul. I'm obsessed.
Oh,
not going anywhere.
I'm so glad to hear that. We're glad to hear that. So, how do you? I just had a question that popped out in my head. Okay. If they don't have a travel agent.
Mm-hmm. Whew. Yeah, I guess it depends on what what they have going on, as far as if they work directly with the hotel.
Mm-hmm. Work directly with the hotel, yes, and had their own room blocks, and now it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully most hotels have a good in-house wedding department, so they have someone you can go to, whoever you worked with, to set that block up that you can work with and negotiate with. My heart aches for them, because then they don't have like an advocate or someone else in their court to kind of say when to pull the plug, when to move it, what the perks are, and of maybe switching to a different hotel if they aren't working with you in the future. But yeah, just read your contracts, negotiate, really try to just, don't take no for an answer if they're not budging on refunds and things like that. Just, really try to work with them and don't give up. But yeah, it's hard. That's a tough one.
So with what you do when you're reaching out to these resorts, and so let's just say I'm getting married. I was supposed to get married May 27th, 2020. We were going to do a 3-year vow renewal, whatever.
Yeah. Yep.
And you are our travel agent, as you will be, and we need to reschedule, or postpone or figure something out. So I'm hearing that a lot of resorts are kind of trying to just tell you what's available, what's next. Like, all right, we'll just push you to this date.
Mm-hmm.
And my answer, and what I've been telling our Desti brides, is pay attention to these dates and see if this is even going to be a good wedding still. Like, you still kind of, you're desperate, but you're not desperate.
You're not desperate. You're still driving this ship here.
Right.
Well, that's where we have a team. We have a team. So even though I'm your point of contact, I'm the one you're talking to and dealing with, and your guests are dealing with, I have a whole team behind me that, I'll give you an example. Today, we're moving a Hyatt Ziva in Jamaica wedding from the middle of May to October. And the bride immediately was kind of going to her planner at the resort to see what dates. And I jumped in and I went, do not do September. It's height of hurricane season. Only look at these dates. And I gave her a list that I saw available, because I'm working with her guests and she's working with the wedding planner, who's on resort. And between the three of us, we had this thing wrapped up in 48 hours and moved around. So I went to my group team and said, move the rooms. The wedding planner was moving the decoration contracts and all that stuff, and the bride was telling her guests. So between all of us, it just was like boom, 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 got done. And now she can just take a deep breath and know it's going to be in October. So yeah.
So you're paying attention to the weather, of course.
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming the overall timing. Like, are resorts saying, so here's the thing. So like, we were supposed to be getting married. We're already married. Silly. We were supposed to be going to Anguilla.
I know.
April 22nd. And so the resort is saying, here's your money back. They're wonderful.
Fantastic.
Our airline, American Airlines, as of right now, has a thing online saying that you can get a credit. And they're not giving money back. They're not offering it back over that. But and the credit must be used before the end of 2020 or within a year of your purchase date.
Right.
We plan to push back on that one and fight that, because that's our plan. We've been, the lawyer and my husband anyway. It's like, no, there's no way. You guys are canceling our flight, so no, da 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 da. Do you recommend us trying to push back with the I went through all that to ask a simple question. Yeah. The resort.
I get what you're asking. It goes both ways. Okay. Because if every airline and every hotel just went, okay, here's your money back, done, it would all fall apart. The economy's already a mess. It would just be that much worse. Mm-hmm. They can't hemorrhage that much money in those many cancellations. So they have to play the in-between of, some people might be okay with the credit, some people might be okay with the refund.
So they're
automatically going to just offer you a credit, because my heart aches. I would never say this before this week, but my heart aches for the airlines, because they are just hemorrhaging money with giving these refunds. So if they offer a credit and you're okay with it, go for it. That's awesome, because if you're really going to reuse it, great. If you really think you're never going to reuse it and you really think it's an issue, then push for a refund. They may, in this situation, may wiggle. But I would wait till maybe a couple days before the flight and see if they actually cancel it. Because if they actually cancel it, you have a little bit more of a leg to stand on. So don't fight that fight until you have to. Give it a little time. And a lot of the airlines that normally would have just offered a 1-year credit are now offering a 2-year credit. So Southwest, which has notoriously been fabulous to work with, and they still are, I was thinking, oh, okay, they're just going to offer credits, but it's only going to be a year. People started to push back, and they instantly were like, 2 years, no problem. So when people have come to me and said, well, I want my money back, I go, well, in 2 years,
you're going to take a trip. Yeah.
Something, and that's just what keeps the economy going and keeps tourism going and the world revolving. So I'm stuck between, I want my clients to get a refund, but at the same time, I want them to still travel and live that dream and support that airline and that destination. So if we've actually set up something for most of our clients where if you had travel insurance, you can opt for a full refund minus the insurance, or you can get a credit. And the credit is going to end up being about 25% more of what your original amount was. And we're giving you almost 2 years to use it. This is through one of the suppliers that we work with a lot. The other option is if you didn't have insurance, you're automatically just going to get a credit. So you're not going to have penalties. And then same thing, 25% more. Or few people push back and say, well, my hotel's closed. I really, really would rather have a refund. In that case, we'll fight for you. Okay. If it's a situation where you were a wedding guest and this is something that you would never really do on your own, we'll go to bat and try to fight for you. But I think if you chose not to get insurance, and in this certain light of what's going on, keep that credit, because you already spent the money and you're going to support tourism going forward.
Okay. Thank you. So because and I know there's other Desti brides out there who are kind of in the same boat, but I don't know if we're not reading it right, but it's for Americans specifically, it looks like it's saying you must book another, you must travel before the end of this year again. Yeah. Yeah. And we're like, okay, at the very least, you got to give us
a little more note.
Yeah. A little more. I'm not in the place to plan a vacation right now. I had one planned. We booked that in October, and it's not happening now. So
especially for those people who booked a year out, because their airline ticket would almost right away. So there's been a lot of exceptions to the rule.
So
and
just wait. So call, but wait until closer to, because they're saying don't call 72 hours anyway.
Just don't call at all.
Okay.
So one line, read the rules, screenshot the rules, with a time, date, and stamp, and hold on to that stuff. Make sure you get a cancellation confirmation if you cancel online. But we've been telling everybody, please, unless it's absolutely urgent, don't clog up the phone lines, because there are people who are in urgent need of our assistance and the airline's assistance. And those who are clogging up the phone lines, especially like mine, is, I decided not to go in October. Can I get a refund by the end of the week? And I'm like, no. So just all those kind of things to try to think about, being proactive, but yet kind of waiting your turn to be serviced.
Totally. Thank you. Okay. So, question one, if your wedding is in July, this one goes out to Inez. If your wedding is in July,
Yeah.
should you be worried right now?
I wouldn't be not in freak out mode. I would
Okay.
be. We actually broke it down into don't worry, freak out mode, like little terms. No, I would look at the hotel that you're using, your destination. Some of those would play a part. If it's in the Caribbean or Mexico, South America, I'm pretty hopeful for July. If it's in certain parts of Europe, I'm a little less hopeful. So that all kind of goes into that question. But I would be cautiously optimistic.
Okay. Do you know anything about Florida? You have any contacts in Florida?
No, I don't do domestic travel.
Okay.
If it's in Florida, I'm even more optimistic you'll be okay.
Okay.
Because worst case, you can get in the car and drive home,
That is true.
Yeah. But I don't do domestic weddings for a couple reasons. They're not profitable. That's number one.
For you, yeah.
Yeah. And second of all, it's no cheaper than doing a wedding at home. So the point of doing an island wedding or a Mexican wedding or a South American wedding is to use, resorts that have all these perks and comps and, neat things included that you won't have to pay for. Because typically a Caribbean or Mexican wedding is about a fourth of the cost of a wedding here. So if you just took your DC wedding and moved it to Florida, you're not really saving anything. It's still a destination wedding, but it doesn't have the perks of being outside of the U.S.
So you get the beauty and all of that awesomeness still because we live in Chicago. I think she's in Chicago. So yeah, it's better for sure. But I understand on your part what you're saying. So, and I have to send you a picture of her venue too because it's amazing. Like it doesn't even look like it's in the States. It's
really,
yeah.
Sure, there's amazing places. But yeah,
okay.
Value.
Nicole, I am going to get to your question. We're on a roll at the moment. So, should 21 couples keep planning as normal?
Yes, absolutely. Because I'll give you a perfect example. Definitely 2021, because you're going to have a lot of those people who didn't get married in March, April, May, June of 2020 are all of a sudden going to reschedule. Right. So if you don't have your stuff together, you might get blown away. Your date might not be available, the venue booked up, all that stuff. Especially I'm running into it with the spring weddings that I'm having to move. I'm moving to October, November. Dates are just flying. So even if you were still considering this year, or you've just booked maybe a few of your rooms that your guests haven't booked, you need to get on it because nothing stops a bride. Nothing. Not even a virus. So she's going to get her wedding date. But yeah, I think people need something to look forward to. I think people need a distraction. So I would not hold back on planning anything past midsummer 2020. So let's go. Do it.
Let's go. Do it. Get a travel agent.
Yes. Number one, get a travel agent. Let's do it.
I know just the one for you. No. Okay.
That's a good question. I've got 4 or 5 weddings that have kind of been dabbling with, spring of 2021, looking at venues and stuff, and they've all reached out. Should I hold back? Should I stop planning? I'm like, absolutely not. I said, let's just get something fun going. And I actually had 3 brides send out their save the dates this weekend. And they're like, should I not? I said, nope, do it. I said, because if anything, airfares are going to be better.
Right.
If you jump now, the hotels are happy to work with something new. That it's not a rebook. It's just refreshing to book something new. All of my weddings in October, November that are like Grenada, Barbados, Antigua, all of them got airfare this week under $300, which is insane. DC to Grenada was $288 round trip.
So I should be planning my 2021 trip is what you're saying.
That is for this fall, 2020.
Oh. Yeah. Oh, this fall.
This fall. So all of my fall weddings who are just kind of been hemming and hawing on the airfare because Caribbean Air can be kind of crazy. I looked the day before yesterday, and almost every Caribbean flight out of DC was under $300. which is insane.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And you can still do probably the same thing. I feel like, the non-refundable versus refundable air. What is your... I feel like we always do non-refundable because we just are like, we're going to go no matter what. But this has me shook.
Well, I look at it a couple ways. Those basic economy fares are a little scary because you don't get seat assignments. There's no changes. There's no refunds. There's no overhead bin. But for $288 to go to the Caribbean on a ticket, which is normally $900,
Right.
I'll take my chance and sit where I sit, so it's worth it. Because worst case is you lost $280. But you can buy insurance. So you can still get insurance if it was something medical. And if we bundle it all together as an air and hotel package, we can insure the whole thing. So if something comes up and you can't go, it would still be covered. Worst case, you have a credit. So, just buy non-refundable.
Okay.
It gives you more incentive to go too.
That is true.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is true. How are resorts handling, or I guess, and how should couples be thinking about it? Because say I originally was to have a wedding of 50 people.
Mm-hmm.
And with everything that's going on, when it is time for my wedding, it's no longer 50 people. It's 30 people or 20 people. I originally had it all set up for my incentives and the resort was giving me all of these things. Are resorts kind of penalizing, or resorts kind of like, what's happening? You have any like negotiation or things that we should be thinking about at that time?
It's kind of a buyer's market at the moment. They're just happy you're still
You're
going.
coming, right?
Yeah. So I really haven't had any pushback on that as we've been slowly moving things around. If you had like comps that you had earned based on the amount of people who were going, I've yet to have any of them come back and say, we're not going to give you that any longer. I really think right now everyone's just happy to have the business continue to coming in and that people are rebooking and not canceling altogether. So that's, again, kind of where you have an advocate where I can go, hey, there's older people, change the dates. Let's work it out. Let's still, make them happy, because at the end of the day, you want it to be a positive experience for everybody. So if you can keep those comps and those perks, they've been pretty cool about it. So I haven't had to freak out on anybody yet.
Right. So are there any things that maybe we could ask for because we're willing to continue through the...
Yes. And that was a good point, because I've noticed some of the hotels have already said, like some of the Hyatt properties, like when you rebook, everybody gets an upgrade and based on availability. And I'm like, that's awesome. That's just a nice tone to set. That's something, to really throw out there to make people want to rebook. Some of the Sandals properties are price matching. So if you picked a different time of year and the prices are higher, they're going to honor the original prices. Because some people, if you had picked a low season time, say when they're going to be closed till the middle of May, and you had picked, the first week of May, which is not one of the more expensive times, and the only time you can now reschedule is January, and it's higher, they're honoring the prices. So just stuff like that, which I'm not sure the consumer sees so much of a value, but in the industry, we're like, that's a big deal because they don't have to do that.
Okay.
But I think in the next couple of weeks, we're going to see more things evolve as far as like promotions, more like free wedding stuff,
right,
more thrown in to, keep your booking. But across the board, the major suppliers we work with are already offering 25% more. So that's huge. So if you had a spring break trip that was $5,000, to go to a wedding or an event or just on your own trip, and you now are rebooking for August and it's less, you'll either get a couple $1,000 refund or credit plus 25% more. So they're trying. I mean, there's going to be some good deals for consumers out there. So,
okay, so we'll stay tuned. We'll stay on the lookout for those things. Because they got to make this better for us. We got to come out higher. It's got to be, it's like, this hurts. Make this better.
I know. Yeah, I just think I'm worried that people are going to be so scared to spend money and travel when this is kind of over with.
Yeah.
but I'm seeing prices and I'm seeing deals that are so good that if you are addicted to travel, like so many of us are, we're just going to go like, I'm out, I'm gone. I mean, I did a 4-night trip for somebody this morning for November to Cancun to a 5-star resort with air. And it was $396 a person.
Sorry, when are they leaving?
Yeah, in November before Thanksgiving. 5-star nonstop air. I know, and I'm going. I don't even want to book this because I don't make anything. But I'm so happy that they're thinking ahead and that they want to have something to look forward to. That it's awesome. So, I'm hoping these incentives will get people back flying, back moving. Seeing the world again, not living in fear.
Yeah.
Hoping 2 weeks with your kids or your significant other will make you want to run away.
That is real. Like, yeah, and I'm not vacationing with you guys, so no. And who is calling you at 7:00 at night?
It always rings.
So that's good news, and that is a thing, because I feel like another worry and question that's come up, which is something that I clearly could never answer. I don't know that you can either, but it's just something to think about, is that destination weddings already get the rap for being dangerous and all the unknown, and you get the guests who are like, oh my gosh, where are we going, and I can't believe you're doing this. And now we've got coronavirus going on, and they're going, our guests are really freaking out. But for me, I feel like the one thing, if this has ever brought, like, almost normalized or even the playing field, right now, a wedding here in Pittsburgh isn't happening. Like, if your wedding is here in Pittsburgh on April 24th, my birthday, or anywhere else, Mexico, Jamaica, no one's having a wedding for real. Yeah. Like, you can't have it in your city because it's shut down, or you can't get 10 or more people, and there's no non-essential businesses and all of these things. And it's just as unsafe to go out right now as it is. It might actually technically be safer to go out in these places that aren't as crazy.
There's far less cases in Cancun than there are in New York. So which I'd rather be in Cancun right now. There's some small victories for us in this industry, because I'm on the board of Yes to Mexico. I've always been a big go to Mexico. It's awesome. And same thing with all the stuff with the DR. Yeah. This summer, I went to the Dominican Republic 4 times, promoting the destination, showing people how safe it was. It's a lovely area. And so now I'm like, okay, there's no reason not to go to Mexico or to the Dominican Republic. Even playing field, everywhere's dangerous. Just go, live your life. So, little victory not to be on the board of Yes to Mexico anymore. People probably will go back.
Okay.
So nobody great questions for me so far. Nothing.
Let's see. Oh, okay, Nicole. Are you familiar with any Blue Diamond resorts?
Yes, actually, last year they were my top vendor. So I was in their top 10 in the world for the Blue Diamond resorts.
Is that that one that I saw something with you winning an award? You posted it on your Instagram. You were like part of an awards.
Yeah, so Blue Diamond is Royalton, Hideaway, Planet Hollywood, Chic, and Punta Cana. So they have multiple different levels of resorts. So, but yep, very, very familiar. So I just had a virtual happy hour with the management last night.
Well, good. So Nicole, yes. So ask more questions. I'm gonna actually share her one question that I said I was gonna share. So let's get it on here. See if I can. Okay. Nicole says, my wedding is in June, and it's actually in St. Lucia, by the way. And it's a Royalton resort. I know that. Yep. Right now, we are waiting until the end of April / mid-May to make a definite decision. Mm-hmm. My concern is for guests who have canceled. They are being charged because they dropped too soon. How does that affect me as far as penalties from the resort if my group drops by a certain percentage?
Well, Royalton or Blue Diamond in general doesn't have huge incentives for large groups. So that shouldn't be an issue for her unless she has a group contract. But even in the group contract setting, there's probably some flexibility. They only penalize when an individual person cancels they're only going to penalize that person, not the bride and groom. As far as earned perks that they would have for their wedding, that's something that you should just talk to your on-site planner about. Or the girls, actually, they're North American based. So talk to your North American based sales team and tell them what your new head count is and see what they say. But I don't think you're going to incur anything with them.
Okay.
They're awesome.
And tell your guests to hold off for the moment because they've got time and they may not be penalized if they just wait it out for a minute. If it's canceled, then they'll work with them, but pause.
Is she working with an agent or directly with the resort?
Nicole, are you working with an agent or directly with the resort? Answer and we will find out. So we will check back.
That depends. If she's working with an agent, then there'll be a contract that'll have terms, but that is probably changing on a daily basis. So that's something that her agent should be updating her on kind of as we've been moving through these last couple weeks. So she should be covered as far as getting all the updates.
She says, I have a group contract, and if it is less than 10%, I am penalized.
It's less than 10%. Of the original amount of people who booked?
I think so.
Doesn't sound right.
But if the guests are charged already, do I get charged again? No. Okay. If it is less than 10%, I am penalized. I think that's what that means. Is that what that means, Nicole? If your final count is less than 10%, and she does have an agent, yes.
Okay. Tell her to talk to her agent. Her agent should be explaining attrition terms to her.
Okay.
That's something she shouldn't have to figure out on her own. So absolutely tell her to shoot that agent an email tonight and tell her you want the attrition terms explained.
The attrition terms?
Yeah, so if you're breaking down, like, at certain points you're allowed to give back so many rooms and not be penalized. Mm-hmm. So she's probably already close to full penalty. So what they do is, say if you held 50 rooms and you didn't need them, they would give you a date that you could give back the rooms without penalty. So, and then that goes down to about 10% as you get really close. But that's not the bride's fault.
Right.
So if that's not being monitored, that's your travel agent's fault.
Okay. So get on that agent.
Well, and then any of those penalties would then come out of the refund to your guests, not from you.
Ah, okay. Yeah. So that is different.
It's them canceling the rooms, not you. So if they don't have insurance, then any of those penalties would be removed from their refund. But sit tight.
Okay.
Don't cancel anything yet. Okay.
She says, awesome. Thank you. You are welcome. This is way out of my wheelhouse because we did a room block and we got married off resort. So, I don't have these answers.
Still apply to you, but I didn't let you know that because I handled that. So that shouldn't be something that a bride and groom has to worry about. That's our internal, all the contracts, all the attrition, which we call give back dates, and all that stuff we monitor and work with your guests to make sure you don't get penalized and make sure she's not worrying about that question. Okay. She should be concerned with that. That should be something the agent has handled and working through.
Okay. She says, yes, that has passed. And that's what I was wondering. So maybe that timing is passed already. Okay. Wishing you the best, Nicole. I'm going to talk to her.
It will work out.
Yes. We'll talk tomorrow.
June in St. Lucia. You're good. You're good.
I know. I love St. Lucia too. So
beautiful.
Penalty has been deducted from their price. Okay, good. That's what you were saying. So yeah.
Yeah. Perfect.
Okay, good. One more question. Emerald says she answered it.
Her name is Emerald. I love that name.
Isn't that great?
Yeah, it is.
Looks like you're answering everybody's questions. So yeah, this is great. You'll see the comments once you're in the group. And I didn't know if I was penalized because of them. Yeah, no, you shouldn't be penalized. So that's good stuff. How many days do you recommend canceling before the wedding? 60, 30. My wedding isn't until October, so we're praying that I'm safe. Oh, yes, we did answer that. So
October. Shh.
You enjoy your planning, okay? Pick out some napkins.
Pretend this isn't going on. October is nuts. I have tons and tons of weddings in October.
They're moving to October, or are they already?
Some are moving, and I already had a bunch in October. So October now is going to be insane. But I had a few reach out, and it was more like, I've got a guest who's bugging me, and I just need to know. And I've told all of them, we're just not even going to talk about October. The world will be back. Things will be wonderful. Just proceed to plan and dream, and don't worry. But if so, July, August, we'll start freaking out.
Okay. Yes, we'll talk about that then. I think you have done it. We've got nothing for you, but I do have one really good one that I know you get it, but we want it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So if you were in this, Sarah Kline of Time for Travel,
yes,
what would you do?
If I was a bride with a wedding, what date?
May 27th. No, wait. What is this? Hold on.
I know, I can't wrap.
This is April. So let's say June. If your wedding's in June 15th.
Okay. If my personal wedding, and I still have quite a few big weddings in June, I am hoping, praying, holding on, telling everybody to be calm. I would stick with June right now. I would stick with it. But I gave my June brides and grooms, got lots of grooms. So June is my gay wedding month. I've got
interesting
grooms, and they're just amazing, every one of them. And I've been talking to my grooms, let's stick with June. Let's keep our fingers crossed. Most of them are mid-June and beyond. But about April 15th, we're going to have a serious powwow. So we're doing like 2-week increments of time, of putting together a timeline. So I think by the time, if we get to mid-April, maybe towards the end of April, if we haven't seen a dramatic improvement, if we're not really seeing things start to open and get better, then we're going to have that conversation about where we move it to and what we do. But I would give it 2 solid more weeks before I start freaking out about June.
Okay, so that means basically about a 2-month. When you're in the 2-month window, it's time to start thinking about what's.
Yeah, because most of the group's final payment is, so when you look at that, so I'm kind of using that final payment date, is that either 45 days, 60 days prior. If I use that date as when we really need to make the call, because your guests are not going to want to make their final payment if they don't know if this trip is happening.
Right.
So really you're kind of at that point forced to say, we're going forward, things are looking better, or hold off on your final payment and let's move all the deposits to the new date. So that's kind of how we've been playing it. So for my mid-June weddings, their final payments are going to be the first week of May. So I said, let's by the middle of April, 3rd week of April, let's make the decision. So that way I'm either sending out final payment reminders or we're sending out, this is the new date and we're moving on. So that's kind of been the timeline that we've used for everybody.
Okay. Are resorts budging on the final payment dates at all?
A little bit. I really haven't had that be an issue yet because we're trying to catch them before we get to that crunch.
Okay.
We've had a few that were coming like right up on their final payment, and we've gone to the resorts and they're just like, okay, we'll take it to 30 days. Some have even taken it down to 15 days because they don't know either. But now that pretty much everything is shut down till the middle of May, that we've stopped taking final payments for anything unless it's into June. So that's kind of solved itself in a way. But in the next 2 weeks, we're going to run into that all over again as we have June into July. So knock on wood, fingers and toes crossed, everything that this just kind of starts to fade away and we can get back to normal life. So
okay.
Thank you. Kids back to school, husband's back at work.
Love mine. It's probably watching. I love you very much out there. Yes. Love you.
The ad I ran this morning on Instagram, it was an untie the knot package.
Untie the knot package.
Untie the knot. I was reading the stats from China of how many people came out of, being quarantined for a couple weeks and filed for divorce. And I went,
Really?
yeah, it's $5.99. It includes a party of 6 women, bonfires, dinner, a piñata with his or her face on it, the whole deal.
So on a totally side note, well, very much related, I was in the legal field, and I used to work for a family law attorney, and we would have divorce parties. And it was a thing. So that's a thing too. But no, you guys are going to stay together because you're going to work together, because you're going to be here with us, and you're going to talk to us instead of snapping on your partners. And Ish is giving us all the pride flags. So yes, thank you. Love that. Nicole says, my resort was great with postponing the final payment date. So good, great.
Awesome.
Inez, mine is July 26th, but I'm afraid I'll lose on a postponed date. I'm assuming that's about finding the timing, or like missing out on the date that you want, maybe. So it's something to think about.
Yeah. And that's, something where you could just shoot your planner or your travel agent.
Hold this for me.
And just say, hey, if this isn't going to work, if I need to sleep better at night, what are my other date options? And then, just put a bug in their ear, have them maybe, pencil you in on another date just in case. Okay. So that's, definitely doable. That's a conversation to have if it makes you sleep better. So,
Thank you.
No problem. My pleasure.
So I've asked you all of the questions that I've received and that I had on my own, but is there anything that we should know? Anything you want to add? Anything that we missed?
Be patient. Be kind. I think this situation has brought out the best and the worst in people. I've had some brides that I've absolutely didn't know very well over the planning process, but in the last couple of weeks, we have cried together, we've drank together, I have a few brides that I don't love so much anymore after the last couple of weeks too. So just realize that we're fighting for you too. We want your event to happen just as bad as you do, but we want it to be perfect and safe and healthy and all that. So just some compassion, some time, some patience. It's a process. So, but no, I just wish all these couples the best, and I hope it all just works out perfectly. Perfectly. This week has kind of proved I've actually picked up additional weddings because people who are doing their own thing were like, you know what, I'm out. Yeah. Can you take over? So honestly, if anybody needs help, if you're just kind of in the beginning stages and your people are driving you crazy, you don't understand your contract, just reach out. I'm happy to help. So that's what I'm there for. And I'm a free service because I love my job.
That's the beauty of you. You are a free service. So yes. Okay. Really quick. I know I was just about to wrap you up, but I got to ask 2 more questions. One, Nicole asked one, but there was one issue of a travel agent sending an invoice to a couple.
Yes.
What are your thoughts on that? And do you have any idea? Have you heard of this? Is this if you're a free service, how does that work?
Well, that's where it's an interview process. I look at it as an interview process. When a bride and groom or a couple just reaches out to me, said, let's do a phone call. Let's do a Skype. Let's, come to my office. Let's sit down and meet. There's been many times where at the end of it, I'm like, I'm not your girl. And then sometimes I can just tell that I might not be for them. So it's kind of, we're going to work together a lot, sometimes for 6 months, sometimes for 2 years. So you need to make sure it's a good fit. Some of my best, dearest friends, amazing colleagues who do what I do, charge a hefty service fee. And that's fine. That is how they run their business. I have just found that I never know what I would charge. That's a big part of it and I love what I do. And that's my whole world. I'm not a hobbyist. This is all I do all day long. So I've decided that I don't need to charge a fee because I want you to come away from this experience going, wow, there's still a free service. Someone was really there fighting for me, not because I'm paying them, but because they truly value my business and the relationships and all that. So when you first start working with, whether it's some .com wedding planning or a local person or someone just like me, they're probably going to present a contract to you. And when you sign that contract, if your wedding doesn't happen, you are going to have to pay that bill. And you are legally bound to that because you signed a legal contract. I have just decided that that's not how I want to do business, so I don't. I have a wedding that was the beginning of April. It was a renewal of vows. It didn't happen, and we canceled. We gave them all their money back. I wish them the best of luck, and hopefully because I didn't submit a bill to them, and I didn't charge them, and I gave them full refunds and wish them the best of luck, they'll think of me in the future. So that's how I hope to stay in business, is just referrals, and they didn't leave with a bad taste in their mouth having to pay me at the end and not getting their trip. So yeah. It's something I wrestle with almost on a daily basis, because I go, oh, I wish I had made something off of that. But you win some, you lose some, and it'll come back. I'm a firm believer in karma. Yeah. So, but yeah, if you sign that contract and you get a bill, you're stuck with it.
So there's something in that contract that more than likely says, in the event that this doesn't go through, this amount, blah, 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 whatever.
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And if it gets to that point where if they're canceling because there was an issue, there typically isn't an amount of money that would make anybody feel better. So it doesn't matter.
Right.
And in this situation, I don't think I could give somebody a bill. That's
the thing. Like, of all the times, like I could see that maybe if we broke up or something, and I just decided to not. But
yeah,
that's just that. But that's, like you said, it's bringing out the best and the worst of people. So
it is. And if you put in a contract, some people would just happily give you that bill. But I think in this situation, I couldn't. In my heart, I couldn't do it anyway. Yeah. So. No need charging it if I would probably fake on it anyway and not send it to you.
Yeah. Well, Ivory's with you. She says that's how you do good business, in my opinion. So
you do, and it comes back to you. It does. It's why I'm busy, and that's why I continue to love my job and work with great people. And it also gives me an out if a bride's being bad. It's like, bye-bye.
That's true. Yeah, let's just cut ties. I'm done with you. Yeah, nothing.
So.
Okay.
Well, sometimes we're not the person. Yeah.
No, yeah, that's real. Yeah, I get people ask me all the time, like, will you plan my wedding? No. Or when I'm first telling people what I do, since it's not a traditional occupation necessarily, like, oh, you're a planner. No. Oh, you're a travel agent?
No.
Nope, not that either. Not planning. Y'all don't want me planning your weddings. I promise you don't want me. I will advise you. I will connect you. But that's why we love each other, because I'm not your planner. Yeah. So that's why. Yeah, I can find you a great one.
Yeah. Same. I am your facilitator, fire putter out, your guest. I will be your shoulder to cry on, but you do not want me picking out the shade of lavender or any of that stuff. So I have people for that.
Gotcha. Yeah. Yep. Well, this is clearly your strong suit. So thank you. We appreciate you.
You so much. And good luck to everybody, and stay well and safe, and just pray this all goes away soon so we can get back to having fun and traveling the world.
Thank you. And can we get you back on soon?
Absolutely. Anytime. So I am wide open for the foreseeable future.
And as soon as this opens up, what would be your dream place to go to?
That's so funny you asked, because my husband and I've been married for 24 years almost. And he understands that I love to travel, understands my job, but I still feel a little resentment and a little pushback when I'm here and there and all over the place. He actually rolled over last night and said, when it's time, go. You go. Don't even ask me. You don't have to tell me where you're going, but I know you're going to ignite this industry and get everything. And you've got to show people that you're there. He said, you have a hall pass, a free to go. I'm like, really? And I thought, that's one of the nicest things he has ever said to me. Because I have 3 kids too. I have, so I always had that little tinge of guilt when I'm running around the world. And then I thought, and my next thought was, oh, where do I want to go? So we shall see. We shall see.
Where are you thinking of? What's the first thing that pops in your mind?
I want to take my daughter to Paris.
Okay.
I really need to get to the South Pacific and a river cruise, little wine through Spain and Portugal.
Ooh.
Yeah, my list is long. It's long.
Like it.
But,
I like it. Love it.
Yeah, he ignited that fire, and I was like, "Oh, you have no idea."
What am I gonna do with this?
Worms you just opened because I'm out. Every travel agent deserves a vacation after this couple weeks. So.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, you'll see me somewhere on Instagram or Facebook. But the second they lift that advisory,
you're gone.
I'm out. And that's the beauty of my job is I have my laptop, I have my phone, I have my tablet, and I work anywhere. So I'm strapped to my desk usually 10 or 12 hours a day. But if I'm traveling, I'm still right there, just a quick phone call away. So
I love that. Might get you to drag me along, so we'll figure that out. So.
I'm going to Anguilla with you.
I know. You know that's where we're going. Oh, yeah, it's happening.
Yeah. Top of my list.
Yes. All right. Well, thank you. I will, you guys, I'll add links, all the ways to contact Sarah and anything that we can get from her. She'll give us, she always gives us goodies. So we'll have something great in the show notes when those are live as well. But thank you, Sarah. I love you so very much.
Thank you. Everybody stay safe. Have a great evening.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Okay, so what did you guys think? It was good, right? I know. It was amazing. I hope that you got what you needed from this. If you have any questions or there's anything that we didn't cover, please drop those questions in the comments. I'm checking them. Sarah's going to check them. I'm going to pass them to her. And as I said already, I will be updating this and keeping you as supported as possible at this time. And you guys, please, I know that it's hard and it's going to sound crazy to say, but please don't let this coronavirus situation stress you out. Like, I know it's going to provide some problems and some issues, but don't let it ruin this. Planning a destination wedding is amazing, and there are ways to work through this. So if you need to re-listen to this episode or re-watch this episode, please do. I say listen because this is also an episode on the podcast. So if you're not subscribed to the podcast, all interviews are always on the podcast as well. I have the links to that in the description. You can listen to it while you're cooking or running or doing whatever it is that you got going on. Pop those earbuds in and just re-listen to this and to really any episode. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this. I hope that it supported you and was able to give you a sense of calm as well. Sarah, thank you so much for this interview. I am looking forward to reaching back out to you when all of this is over to plan my next vacation because Anguilla is not happening and I am freaking out and I can't wait for us to plan whatever is coming next. And you guys, I want to give another ginormous thank you, Sarah and your team for sharing this interview and for sponsoring this episode. You guys, Sarah and her team at Time for Travel are absolutely amazing. I actually used them for our destination wedding and for our honeymoon, and our guests still rave about them. And even that was back in 2017 when we got married. And even after, our guests have reused Sarah and her team for their own personal vacations. So seriously, if you have any questions or you are looking for a travel specialist and a true destination wedding travel specialist, you guys, Sarah and her team at Time for Travel is the way to go. Give Time for Travel a shot. Sarah and her team are waiting for you. They can be reached at timefortravelltd.com. And make sure that you let them know that your very best Desti bride friend Omi sent you, and they will take extra special care of you. Desti Bride interviews are coming back, and you don't want to miss them. So hit that subscribe button and ding that bell. And if you haven't already, go down in those comments and give me that hashtag I'm a Desti. Let me know when and where you're getting married. And while you're at it, let me know what your best takeaway from this episode was. Let me know how this is going for you, what you're going through. share your journey. I'm actually thinking about doing a full episode just of all of you Dusty Brides, just to talk about your journey and your experience through this COVID-19 pandemic. So if you're interested or whatever, just go ahead and drop your comments. If you ever have any questions, I'm in there too. I love you guys. I will see you soon. Don't let this ruin your wedding. It's just a really, really, really uninvited guest to your destination wedding, and we know what to do with those guests. We kick them out and we keep it moving. So we're going to move through this together, and I will be in touch soon. I hope to see you in the Desti Lovers community or wherever you find me on Instagram or wherever. Facebook. See y'all. See y'all when I see y'all. I love you guys so very much. And until next time, I'm wishing you all the best week of your life and reminding you to have the time of your life. And yes, that includes with coronavirus. Have the time of your life while planning the best days of your life. Bye, guys.